Hey friends, welcome to our channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing another video in my little series about being a doula. I got so many questions about being a doula when I did my video about how I earn an income while staying home with my large family and homeschooling that I decided it was worth it to do a few videos answering the questions that so many of you had. Today I'm talking about how I actually do it. How am I a mother to a large family, homeschooling, YouTubing, doing all the different things I do in life, and a practicing doula? There are so many different options when you become a doula as far as practice. In some areas, you will find there are so many doulas, and having such a high saturation of doulas is a great problem for families to have. In a lot of the more populated areas, it has led to doulas forming groups. And those groups are just doulas that get together under one common name, do events together to draw families in and to serve families in ways that maybe individual doulas could not. And there are definitely positives and negatives. Every doula group is run differently. There are some in my area where you come to a meet and greet, get to know the doulas, and you can pick one, and she's your doula. Or you come to a meet and greet with the group, you decide you generally like those doulas, and when you have a question or when the time comes for your birth, you text a general number and the next on-call doula shows up. I personally am an independent doula, which means I work with no one but myself. If you look into my business, you find me, you find the services I offer, and you find my availability for me personally. For me, this works best because I'm not dictated by anybody else's schedule, which is kind of funny because I work on unborn baby schedules. But what I mean is I can choose when I'm taking clients. If we know we want to go on a vacation in the end of September, I don't take anyone in the entire month of September or even in the beginning of October because I want to be fully available whenever I am going to have a client between 36 and 43 weeks. I am wholly and completely theirs. There are many doulas who practice well and have no qualms about stacking up women with the exact same due dates and just taking every client they can. And kudos to them for being able to handle so many things. But with what I have going on in my family, I dedicate myself to my family and then a family I'm serving. And I could not fathom trying to keep straight multiple families and their due dates and appointments and needs and just the little nuances that when you're serving someone in such a personal profession, I feel like I need to dedicate myself to that family to really serve them well. Now, how I actually work being a doula with family life. How most situations work is someone contacts you saying they're interested in getting to know you and potentially hiring you as a doula. You will have 1 to 2 meetings talking, looking over your contract, letting them know your values and how you practice and things like that. And going over the contract really, it brings up a lot of questions. So you really get to know the family quite well and they get to know you quite well. So they're able to figure out a lot of times just in, an hour at one visit, whether they want you to be their doula or not, whether you click, whether they really like how you operate. I always tell families, don't sign the contract now. You can email it to me later, whatever. I don't ever want to make it a pressure situation like, so am I hired? So I tell them, take the contract home, think about it for an overnight, and make their decision. Once a family has returned a signed contract and has hired me officially, then we typically have another meeting before birth, depending on, what's going on and how close they are to their due date. I'm also available for 1 to 2 prenatal visits to go with them if they would like my support there, things of that nature. And I am available to them by phone, email, or text 24/7. So realistically, aside from those few meetings from hiring until the birth, most of my support and work is done via phone or computer. So that's something that really lends itself to being a work-at-home homeschooling mom like I am. If I am needed urgently for a birth or a last-minute appointment or anything like that, my husband thankfully has a fairly flexible job where he can work from home, sometimes leave early if he's gone into work. And my oldest is also old enough to hold down the fort at home if my husband is at work and can't immediately come home. If it seems like it's going to be a longer stretch, or my husband can't get out of work or can't come home, or say a client goes into labor and my husband's on the other side of the country for work, and I really don't want to leave my oldest home in charge of things for an open-ended amount of time. I have some really amazing local friends who have stepped in and watched the kids for me. But that's something I need to call in maybe every 2 to 3 years. I keep a doula bag packed with all the general supplies I'll need when I know a birth is imminent. And leading up to the birth, there's so much conversation between me and the family that they are well prepared in bringing supplies, and I am well prepared to fill in any gaps or things. I always keep my camera batteries charged because my families all know that I bring my camera, but I am no substitute for a birth photographer because my priority is to take care of them and to support them. But there are definitely plenty of times in most births where I'm pretty hands off and I'm just sitting back and staying quiet, and it's their scene. And if they don't need me at the moment, I sit back and I try to get some sweet photos and memorable moments and things. So I make sure that my camera equipment is ready to go at all times. When the time comes and I am headed off, my husband takes over, or however that needs to happen. And I've never been gone for longer than about 36 hours. So my doula bag takes good care of me and my families, and my husband and oldest daughter can hold down the fort while at home. I also do postpartum visits, and regardless of whether or not a family chooses to have me provide postpartum services, I always go for a postpartum visit in the first week postpartum just to check in and see how they're feeling, see if they have questions, see if they need help with anything, if they need a baby holder while they go take a shower and a nap and get a hot meal, help them process the birth, go through any questions, help them articulate any questions they may have for their care provider or their pediatrician, and provide any information they may have to make any decisions that they're facing at that time. Thankfully, the postpartum visit as well is something that I can schedule when works for the family and for me, so that I can do it once my husband is home from work, or on a day he's working from home, or on a weekend, or leave my oldest daughter in charge for an hour or two. There are a lot of nuances in there in how I serve families because it's so individualized for each family. But that's kind of the nuts and bolts of things. If you have any questions for me, as always, leave them in the comments section below. I would love to answer them or do another video giving a really thorough answer if that's what's needed. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this video, as always, give us a thumbs up, share it if you think anyone might find it useful, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Bye-bye, friends.